Gotta prepare for space. Gotta prepare for space. Gotta prepare for space. Gotta prepare for space. What are you doing?
Getting ready for space.
But First Man was released a few days ago.
So?
Aren't you supposed to review movies? And this is your type of movie.
I'm retired. I'm not reviewing any more movies anymore. I'm trained to be an astronaut.
Well, I don't know how he makes these videos, but I looked up other YouTube movie reviews and they seem to list off the IMDb plot and cast and crew. That's the way how they start their videos, so I'm gonna give that a try. First Man stars Ethan Hawke as a priest at his local church who's struggling with physical and emotional pain, who tries to help others while he can't help himself. Oh.
I'm reviewing First Man.
No, it's too late now. Every year now in October and November, we seem to get a sci-fi or space movie. And now this year is First Man, and people are calling it boring! Which is fine, even though your opinion's wrong, you can think that. I feel like people are calling it boring because it's a slow burner of a film, and it's not as flashy or energetic as a lot of blockbuster films. Without setting up Neil Armstrong's character, the second half of the film wouldn't be good because you wouldn't care for Neil Armstrong as a character, so you have to set up everything revolving around Neil Armstrong and his character, and that's what the film does. It really puts you into Neil Armstrong's head. It's not about the moon landing, it's about Neil Armstrong. It's not about his wife, it's about Neil Armstrong. It's not about NASA, it's about Neil Armstrong. It's not about Neil Armstrong. What I'm getting at is the movie is about Neil Armstrong. I think there's a difference between boring as in being not as hyper or flashy or energetic, and then there's boring as nothing's going on in the film, the story isn't moving along, it's just staying in one spot. If you're going into this movie for entertainment, sure, you're probably not going to get what you want, an intense space movie, because it's not about space, it's about Neil Armstrong. There's not a lot of those scenes like in a lot of space movies where they're in this, other characters are in this space control, and you don't really care because it's not like, why would you, like, it's not about the main, you don't need to learn about space, you want to know about Neil Armstrong, and that's what the movie's telling you. Really drive and focus on Neil Armstrong makes this film what it is, because it's more of a character study of Neil than it is about how Neil Armstrong goes to space. Ryan Gosling, he's an actor. Is he a good actor? Yes, he is. Is he a good actor in this? Yes, he is. The reason that is because he doesn't really have a lot of dialogue to have in the film, which is kind of a Ryan Gosling stereotype, I guess now. It's just his trademark. Who cares? Is Ryan Gosling really good in this? Yes, and he really shows you these subtle changes of his character, and he says a lot with his face without really going too over the top, with a lot of like a lot of facial expressions by the way he looks at something. It's just so mesmerizing. Claire Foy as Janet, Neil Armstrong's wife, was actually really good in this as well. And the reason why she was good is because you have to care about this relationship that Neil and Janet have, or had, basically. Claire Foy really shows you the relationship and makes you care for the relationship and buy into this relationship, and you see it as a real relationship and not as this fake, over the top, like, oh yeah, I love you, but I'm going to space. I feel like the movie really showed you there's more layers. Damien Chazelle adds some things into the film that might not be that noticeable for people for their overall viewing experience, but I found just made the film way more better, because what Damien Chazelle, the director, does is he really makes his film really intense, and by having a lot of close-ups and also having basically the whole film shot handheld. There's not a lot of stabilized shots, and so it just feels like you're more in the moment and more connected with these characters. And the scenes in space were also done, they were done really well because of the tight claustrophobic shots on Neil Armstrong that make you claustrophobic like the space scenes are also really good, is because you care for Neil Armstrong. Why? Because his character was set up in the first half and you get emotionally attached and invested into his character. We're gonna go into some spoilers, so go to this time period to find out my score. People say that Neil Armstrong, he's a one-note character, which is pretty false, and say the only thing he has is that his daughter died. His daughter died, and it really sets up his character because he was so attached to his daughter, and the loss was just that much worse because he was attached. And so the reason why he just goes and works on space, because that's kind of his dream, and also because he doesn't want to be too attached to his wife or his children, because what if he dies? Then the loss for them will be hard. The scene where Janet and Neil Armstrong, they're arguing when he's about to leave, and she thinks that he could die, and she's like, you have to tell him, and he's just stalling because he doesn't want to talk to them, because the loss for them is just going to be worse. My rating out of 5 is definitely a 5. This is an awesome movie. The first 5 out of 5 of the year. That's incredible. Will this be the only 5 out of 5? Subscribe to stay tuned, and also keep on liking and commenting. Follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd. And yeah, I already said to subscribe, so I'm not sure exactly how to end the video. Thank you.